The Right Side with Doug Billings.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the special edition of the show, The Right Side. I'm Doug Billings, delivering you, as always, the analysis that you can't find anywhere else, really, for about 6 years now. Subscribe, like, share, follow, all of that good stuff, and head over to dougbillings.us to support the program. All right, so the clock is ticking on one of the most consequential diplomatic moments in a generation. We've got the fragile 2-week ceasefire with the remnants of whatever is left of the Iranian regime over there. It expires tomorrow. President Trump has said that he might extend it. It remains to be seen what will really happen. That could be the bluster and the art of the deal taking place right in front of us. But behind closed doors in Islamabad, Pakistan, America's team is in the final round of entering into these direct talks that are scheduled to take place. We'll see who shows up, if anybody, from the Iran hierarchy. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, in case you're from Raytown, Missouri, they've been militarily shattered. The old supreme leader, gone, vaporized, turned into, as we say, red mist. They've got a weakened regime that's clinging to power, yet the mullahs are still playing for time. And I think they're hoping we're just going to accept a quick cosmetic deal that lets them regroup and live to fight on another day. So, my friends, this is exactly the kind of moment where history doesn't whisper, it shouts at us. If we would just take the time to look at history. So the unique behind-the-scenes analysis that you get only on The Right Side is that anything less than the complete, irreversible dismantling of the mullahs' apocalyptic regime would be what I call Munich 2.0, combined with the unfinished business of what happened in Versailles. I'll explain. It's all about history. You see, half measures don't bring peace. They guarantee the next, more terrible conflict. That's what half measures do. That's what kicking the can down the road does. So let me go straight to the record so that you understand why this matters to your family, to your gas pump prices, to your children's future, and everything else, including America's place in the world. So history, ladies and gentlemen, history is our friend. Now, I'm going to go back in time with you. After the armistice of November 11th, 1918, after World War I, the world collectively exhaled. The guns fell silent. The Kaiser was gone. And yet the Treaty of Versailles left the German state intact. Now go with me on this. It's history. Its industrial heart largely untouched. Its officer corps humiliated, but they were still alive and free. Its people convinced that they had been stabbed in the back rather than decisively defeated. So the underlying ideology of militarism and resentment, quite frankly, was never rooted out. And within 15 years, that half-finished peace product produced the deadliest war in human history. A half measure. They didn't finish the job. So the lesson was a brutal but clear one. When you defeat an enemy, but you leave the regime's core power structure breathing, it doesn't thank you for mercy. That regime will rebuild, it'll rebrand, and it will strike harder. So then we fast forward to September of 1938, all right? British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain, he returned from Munich, waving a piece of paper declaring peace for our time. And he handed Hitler the industrial heart of Czechoslovakia in exchange for a worthless promise of no further demands. Hey, Adolf, don't demand anything else. Here's the heart of Czechoslovakia. We'll give you that now. Just please go away and don't make any more demands on us. And the Czechs, the people of Czechoslovakia, weren't even allowed in the room to negotiate that deal. 6 months later, Hitler swallowed the rest of Czechoslovakia. 11 months after that, his tanks rolled into Poland, and as they say, history tells the story. So appeasement of Hitler didn't pacify the tyrant. It convinced him that the democracies lacked the will to finish the fight. The cost was 60 million people dead and a world map redrawn in blood, literally. So now we apply those same exact lessons to what's going on in Tehran, Iran, in April of 2026. The regime's military machine has been crippled by decisive action, no doubt about it. Its proxies are reeling. Its economy is in free fall. But the apocalyptic ideology that has driven 47 years of terror, of hostage taking, of rape, murder, arson, and anarchy, and nuclear blackmail remains fully intact. Their ideology is still there. The mullahs are still there. They're ballistic missile factories. Yes, they're damaged, maybe even many of them destroyed, but they're repairable. Their nuclear infrastructure crippled, but it's not eliminated. Their terror financing, the networks that the Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, all of those networks are disrupted, but they're not severed. A partial deal with limited enrichment for peaceful purposes with regards to nuclear material, a phased missile freeze or monitored funding cuts, that would be the modern version of leaving the German general staff in place after 1918 or handing Hitler the Sudeten factories of Czechoslovakia in 1938. The mullahs would regroup. They would claim some kind of bizarre, demented, divine victory to their people, and they would emerge stronger, exactly as they did after the flawed 2015 agreement that was brokered by Obama. So the behind-the-scenes reality here is that, the truth that the cable news panels won't be able to connect for you, and they won't tell you, is this. The mullahs have studied the same history we have. The same history. They know that partial victories buy them more time, just as the Weimar politicians used the breathing space of the 1920s to rebuild their war machine. So every extra day that the regime survives is a day that it can funnel oil money to new proxies, hide centrifuges in mountain facilities, and wait for the next American election cycle to hope for a commune socialist, formerly known as Democrat, so they can begin to work weak deals again. America doesn't need to repeat the mistakes of Versailles or Munich, ladies and gentlemen. We have the leverage. We have the military dominance that's earned through decisive action. We have the clear-eyed leadership at the top that refuses to accept half measures, as it should be. So here's what success demands in this situation. No wiggle room, no diplomatic doublespeak. You got to have, first, a permanent, verifiable end to all uranium enrichment. Not a cap, not a slowdown, but the complete dismantling of every centrifuge and the return of all enriched material to the United States. Second, you got to have full permanent cessation of ballistic missile development. You got to stop it, including testing. No more programs that threaten Israel, Europe, or eventually our own homeland. Number three, immediate and total cutoff of funding to every terror proxy, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas. All of them and their remnants, every Shia militia has got to be defunded, disarmed, and with transparent international audits to prove it. Then you got to have basic human rights guarantees inside of Iran itself. You got to release political prisoners, put an end to this morality police and the lynching and the hanging of young people in the streets, and verifiable steps to free expression of speech so that the Iranian people themselves can finish what the United States military campaign began. Those aren't wish list items, my friends. Those are the non-negotiable requirements for any agreement that America can accept. The current leverage is overwhelming. We've got the largest naval presence in the history of history enforcing the Strait of Hormuz blockade. We've got targeted seizures of Iranian vessels, and we've got the explicit position that extending the ceasefire without a comprehensive deal is highly unlikely. So the pressure campaign is working. The direct effects on every American are impossible to overstate. A strong, complete deal means that stable energy markets return. No more threats to close the Strait of Hormuz. And again, I'll remind you, the United States doesn't need any of the oil that's being shipped through the Strait of Hormuz. The rest of the world does, and so we're trying to take care of that for them. We're only using 10% of our American military capability in all of this, which is amazing in its own right. No more proxy attacks on shipping that spike gasoline prices. Wherever you are in this country, you feel the effects when Iran begins to act out like that. It means fewer resources are diverted away from us defending against Iranian-backed terrorism. It means that Israel, our ally, can focus on prosperity instead of perpetual defense, including with Lebanon, who they're trying to engage with peace talks. So then again, of course, it frees American dollars for priorities here at home. Most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, it means that the next generation of Americans, our kids and our grandkids, grow up without the shadow of a nuclear-armed apocalyptic regime threatening the world order. So proud conservatives have always understood that real peace is not the absence of conflict. Real peace is the result of unmistakable strength. The current strategy rejects the failed diplomacy of the past, and it embraces the realism that's always protected American interests. So there's going to be enormous pressure from the international bureaucrats, from the legacy media, even some cautious voices just to take the win, declare victory, and let's get out of there with a half measure. So that pressure has got to be ignored, my friends. The only historic legacy worth having here is the one that finishes the damn job, the one that leaves the mullahs regime not merely damaged, but irreversibly displaced, dismantled from within. That's up to the Iranian people to a large degree. I understand that. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the opportunity America has earned through decisive action instead of just kicking the can down the road. The talks in Islamabad can produce a generational breakthrough if we hold firm. The regime is weaker than at any point in 45 years. The ceasefire, the clock is ticking. The leverage that we have is real. So now is the time for clarity, not compromise. So here's the hopeful truth that defines the right side over here and proud conservatism. America does not have to repeat the mistakes of the last century. We have the strength, we have the leadership, we've got the Iranian people themselves on our side, which ultimately is the regime's greatest vulnerability. Give them, the people, one clear signal that the mullahs have no path to get back to power. One signal. That international pressure will finish what our forces began. They've got people in place ready to get into Iran to bridge the gap to new leadership, including the exiled prince who doesn't want a leadership role himself, but wants to help set up democracy in that country. So this is not about endless war. This is about a peace that actually lasts. It's about securing America's future so that families can thrive without the constant threat of higher gas prices, terrorist attacks, or the next global crisis that takes the shape of a mushroom cloud somewhere. That's moral purpose, and it's morally justified, ladies and gentlemen. The Republic has overcome a lot worse than this, many greater challenges than this, when its leaders refuse to accept half measures, and when we, the people, demand strength, we can overcome anything. That's the hard-hitting, can't be found anywhere else, historical analysis of why America has got to reject any second Munich in Tehran. And we connect the precise lessons of 1918, of 1939, to the negotiations that are happening right now. The specific demands that matter, the leverage on the table, and the direct impact on you, your wallet, and your family, and your security, and your children's future are at play. So strong leadership, informed by the hard lessons of the past through history, can secure the kind of generational victory that eluded previous generations. America has earned this moment, my friends. Now's the time to seize it, completely seize it. I want to thank you for joining me on the right side, as always, for this episode and all of the others. I want you to please share it. Share this episode because, look, informed citizens are how we keep America strong, and it's how we reclaim the Republic away from the radical communist-socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party. Sharing and subscribe on whatever platform you're watching this right now. Share the clip, subscribe, drop a comment. I want to know what you think. And then finally, please prayerfully consider heading over to DougBillings.us, DougBillings.us, and contribute to the program. It's how we save the republic. And after all, as I always say, we're in this together, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it, for the republic. Cheers.
The Right Side with Doug Billings.